After a year in the top job at the SPD, Andrea Nahles says she's standing down because she feels she can't go on. Discussions in the parliamentary group and feedback from the party have shown that I no longer have the necessary support to carry out my duties. On Monday, I will therefore resign as chair of the SPD, and on Tuesday, I will resign as chair of the SPD parliamentary group. Nahles' resignation follows her party's dismal performance in last month's European elections, its worst ever showing at the polls.
The results that we have so far are extremely disappointing for the SPD. Everyone knows that the surveys regarding our party have not been good in the last few weeks. Our task was to try and work our way out of these poor survey results. Sadly, despite all our work, we didn't manage to swing things around.
The SPD was once a big tent party, but years of playing second fiddle in Chancellor Angela Merkel's government have left the Social Democrats struggling to stay relevant. New polling puts the SPD at just 12%, a distant third behind the Greens and Conservatives. Merkel's coalition has found it difficult to make headway since its painful formation after the 2017 German election. Merkel wants to see out her final term until 2021.
We will continue the government's work with all seriousness. We will, above all, do so with a great sense of responsibility. The issues we have to solve are for Germany and Europe and the rest of the world. With this mindset, we will continue working.
That's likely to prove no easy task, especially with both the main parties seeing their support ebbing away.
Let's get more now. We are joined by DW political correspondent Simon Young. So, Simon, as we saw there, Andrea Nahles due to officially resign later today. What direction is the SPD likely to take after her departure?
Well, Sarah, that's far from clear at this stage. And the party is, of course, still reeling from this surprise announcement yesterday. But many in the party say that what's needed is a change in policies. And many feel that that really means a stronger Social Democrat profile, i.e. a stronger sort of left-wing profile. And they believe that that is the only way to stop their party hemorrhaging support as it's been doing in election after election. But it also depends, of course, on who is going to be the new Social Democrat leader. And frankly, at this point, who would want that difficult job? But it'll be up to them to decide how they can best put across a Social Democrat agenda, possibly outside the current coalition government.
And the big question is, OK, what does this now mean for Germany? Because Chancellor Merkel, other conservative leaders, they're all saying that they want to keep the SPD on board. But Simon, is it too late? Could this resignation bring down Merkel's government?
Well, I think it could eventually. And by the way, the Social Democrat Finance Minister Olaf Scholz just published an article, coincidentally, yesterday, in which he was saying, you know, a third grand coalition is not good for German democracy and, you know, shouldn't be contemplated. And then, frankly, the left wing of the SPD never liked the idea of this left-right coalition with Merkel's Conservatives that they've gone into and that Andrea Nahles really argued for. So I think it's difficult to say how it will pan out. As I say, a lot depends on who's the new leader. The timetable at the moment looks to be that the party will probably choose a new leader in perhaps around September. And it'll be up to them, as I say, to decide whether they think they should get out of the coalition with Merkel. If they do that, then it's very likely that within a few months anyway, there would be new elections because the government would fall.
Simon Young in Berlin. Thank you. So where does the SPD go from here? For an inside look, let's bring in Annika, leader of the Berlin branch of the SPD's youth organization, the Jusos. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Was she right to resign?
I think it was a consequential step of Angela Merkel of Andrea Nahles to resign, because the criticism of her was really big in the last weeks. And I think even though she offered to have re-elections as a parliamentary group on Tuesday, I think that would have not silenced the voices of criticism. But I think also that the pressure was really, really high on her, and that it was quite unfair, actually, to blame her as a person for the results of the European elections.
And she actually said when she, announced this, that the party needs to regain the trust and the respect for one another. Did the SPD treat its leader badly?
I think for some part it was unfair. I think that she suffered from criticism because she was not so popular, and she's a character which is not so common in politics, because sometimes she's just really a character. She does things that are not really common. But I think also that politics needs some people who are like do unexpected things or have some comments which I think it's nice to have people like that. But I also think that she did do some mistakes, and I think that we need change in the leadership, but just one person is not going to do the deal.
Ultimately, it was her who persuaded the party to join Merkel's coalition government last year. A very, we know that your party wanted to enter the opposition, for example. What happens to the coalition now?
We really don't know. We users, the youth organization, we pushed for the evaluation of the coalition at our party congress in December. So I think we need to pull that forward and do that earlier this year, actually. We need our party congress earlier than December. We need a re-election of the party board, and we need that evaluation of the Grand Coalition really soon, because honestly, the Grand Coalition, if we look at the polls, if we look at the results of the European election, is not a Grand Coalition anymore. The people expect us to do more than what we're doing right now, and I think we're just not going to be able to fulfill what we need to do with the Conservatives.
What happens to the SPD now? Because, your party is bleeding voters, not only on the German level, but also, generally speaking, on the European level as well, and especially to the Green Party.
Yes, that's true, because the climate change is the biggest winning topic at the moment, and I think the social democracy was not able to push that topic as much as we would have needed to do that, and to also make it a social question, the climate change. Like, how are we going to manage it? How are we going to finance it? How are we going to do it without losing jobs? Or what are we going to do with the people who are losing the jobs? How do we invest? All these questions are on the table in the social democracy. Well, we're doing coalitions and deals with the Conservatives, who are doing nothing but protecting the economy, even if we need huge change in the economy. So I think there, on European level, on German level, we need to do some changes. We need to set a new agenda.
A call for action.
Yes,
from the Youth
that's
Party,
true.
from the youth organization of the SPD. Annika, thank you.
Thank you.